You can make a killing though, goddamn. Just start selling little roses.
Just start selling little glass roses and go around to all like the gas stations.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would cost me so much, and like the moral qualms I would have about it.
The moral club. Gotta brand them the right way.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a DMT pipe.
It's a DMT pipe.
Yeah, we're live, guys.
Yeah. It's Jacob Brooks and Mike Willis. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Thanks for
Pleasure
coming
to be
down
here,
here,
man. Yeah.
It's our first time doing in studio in a while. Appreciate you wearing your mask, Mike. Jacob brought his too.
In case anybody's scared.
We were talking about glass blowing before we went live because Jacob blows glass.
Yeah.
Why were we talking about crack? Oh, we just called it the Crackcast because episode 30.
Because why not?
So what we were saying is Jacob would blow a crack pipe, and then we would take turns hitting it and testing the, I guess, durability.
Yeah.
The 5
The
C's of the
quality.
crack pipe.
I mean, most of my prep, like, pretty much just looks like that already. Like, like a pipe before it's being made, it kind of just looks like a crack pipe.
How long have you been doing that?
So I got started actually doing like soft glass initially. So me and a friend of mine, we took a class down in Richmond, and there's a place, it's like a hot shop, and soft glass is a little bit different than like what we make pipes out of. It's like the traditional video you see where it's like the guy pulling the big long rod out of like a furnace and stuff like that. So I started doing that, and then like I just asked some of the guys down there, like, is anybody doing like lamp work? And there's like, yeah, there's like 2 of us that work here that do it. But I, pretty much just got into it 2 years after that. So I've been doing it for like 4 years now, and just bought a torch. And my coworker was kind enough to like let me mess around in his garage and like take his scraps of his stuff. Shout out to Matt. He's an awesome dude. Very, very grateful for like everything he's done for me as far as becoming a glass artist, for sure. But yeah, I mean, just kind of like really wanted to do it and just figured it out on my own. YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Really? So most of it was learned from YouTube videos? Like you had a basis from doing the soft glass, but then you took that knowledge and then...
The soft glass, like, it definitely didn't really teach me anything that I was prepared for with, like, borosilicate. Like, I kind of had to... I knew, like, what not to touch, for sure. Like, don't touch the glowing part.
Oh, come on.
Very important rule.
That's the funnest part.
But yeah, I mean, it's just so different, like the temperature range and like, how fragile one material versus the other can be. There's just so many things that I kind of had to like figure. I'm still learning. I mean, definitely not even like an intermediate level artist by any means,
They say with any good craft, you're not real at it until you've been 10 years in it. This with like anything from tattooing to even...
As soon as you say you're good, like you're on the decline, I feel like,
Yeah.
I think everybody, it's good to know like your own, limits and range, but never be like content or satisfied, like always kind of want a little bit more.
And always learning.
Yeah.
Yep, that's important.
I definitely got to a point in comedy where I kind of got too content and thought I was... whatever, for lack of better terms, like too enlightened to seek enlightenment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got stagnant, I plateaued, and then I started declining.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, fuck, I gotta refocus, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going at this the way that I need to, man. Do you have any glass in any shops downtown?
So I work at Natural Mystics, and that's usually I'll bring a few things in there, and then I kind of like to travel to a few shops in like Richmond or DC, Glass House Gallery, the Glass Stash, Culture down in Richmond, and it really depends on just what I'm making at the time and what I have a bunch of. Because there's definitely a big difference between, guys that look at it as like an art form where they make like one unique piece and that like covers their, financial situation for a week versus somebody who's like, I'm going to make 20 pieces that I could sell for cheaper, but, kind of more of a production pipe maker than like a, heady artist or something like that.
Right. Are you getting close to a point where you can kind of make that your main income?
I would like to, but I love working at the shop, man, because for me it's like, I kind of get to keep my finger on the pulse of the market a little bit more.
Right.
And I spend all day selling stuff and figuring out what people want, you know, and if we happen to be out of something and somebody's like, oh, it'd be really awesome if you guys could carry this. I'm like, well, I can make that. So, yeah, let me try and accommodate you guys. So,
right.
And that too, and it's never a bad idea to have your hands in multiple things. They always say you should always have more than one stream of income.
Yeah, definitely.
Regardless.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I've
definitely...
Plus,
working at the smoke shop is super laid back anyway. I mean, that's not like a job where you're going to start, like, hating. Like right now, you're working up north, dealing with traffic, you're working in the fucking heat.
Yeah, but he's got to deal with fucking people.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, true. I would not trade place, even though it's a head shop and shit like that. Like, I'm not...
Still customer service.
Bro, people are the worst.
Yeah, retail's tough. Man.
Yeah, because you deal with fucking everybody from Karen to fucking the nicest people ever. So you get the whole spectrum, man. I sold Christmas trees one time, and after that, I will never work retail. Like, completely will never do anything where I have to sell anything to the public or do any job where I have to help the public do anything. Because people just fucking suck.
Right, so you like being, like, tucked away in your machine.
Yeah, like, where I'm just off doing my own thing, and then I get a check for it at the end of the week.
Right.
Like, my boss tells me what the fuck to do at the beginning of the day, and then that's all I see.
And then you get to pick and choose who you interact with for the most part outside of work.
And I'm good enough at my job so I don't get bothered. Like, I can't deal with people. Because I'm not the type that's going to be like, okay, ma'am. Okay, I got you. Okay. I'm like, no. Get the fuck out. Like, I have no tolerance for fucking people that are shitty.
Yeah.
Like, so I used to kind of, I don't know exactly what trade you're in, but I used to make that commute every day. Like,
I'm a heavy equipment operator.
Okay, right on. Like, I don't know what time you wake up, like 4 o'clock in the morning.
4.
Yeah, so and be in DC by 6. So I used to do that before I took the job at the shop. And, like, again, shout out to Matt, because I basically was doing that job and doing that grind and just hit him up one day. I was like, man, like, do you guys have anything? Like, I don't care. Like, like, this is driving me insane. Like, making that drive. So it's tough, man. Like, it definitely takes a special, like, breed of person to be able to, you know, want to go up there and do that kind of work. Like, I just couldn't. I was lucky enough. He was like, yeah, like, we'll figure something out. I'm like, awesome.
Right.
Like, that was my out, and I kind of, like, jumped for it and, like, didn't look back. But that traffic, dude, I just can't.
Traffic sucks. If it wasn't for my hatred for dealing with the public, it would be a totally different story. Right. Like, I just can't. I can't do it.
I worked like retail and restaurants before. I've mainly done labor work, but like, even when I did retail and restaurants, I worked back room at the big box store. I was like a dishwasher at the restaurant, so it was very much like I don't have to deal with people. I don't have to deal with orders and shit like that.
Right.
But the like staring at the same environment every day and doing like the same monotonous task every day is what drove me crazy. Like I can't do that. That's why I like doing tree work or like landscaping, something outdoors, because it's the job site switches up so much, you know what I mean? And like, even though tree work, it's always taking down a tree, it's not always an oak tree, and not every tree grows the same way. So they're all sitting different proportions to house. So there's so many variables that go into the job that just like keep it always changing, as opposed to like plateauing and just getting monotonous. Like, I can't fucking do that. So I commend anybody who can work retail and like end up being a manager at Target or something like that, because they've been there so long. Like, because I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, heard it, and it takes like a special type of person to deal with the public.
Yeah, dude, it really does. It really fucking does.
I consider myself really blessed, because we definitely have like a somewhat niche that like a type of person that's gonna come and shop at our store, and like that usually kind of lessens the blow a little bit. Like, my girl works at Starbucks, and like when we first started dating, I went in to wait for her to like grab some food or something like that, and like just seeing the line of people roll through and the people she had to deal with, I'm like, dude, your job is so much harder than mine. Like, it's the type of people that you have to deal with, and just how entitled a lot of them are.
Those uppity fucking people trying to get their iced lattes. Oh my god, dude, I couldn't imagine.
One of my exes worked at motherfucking 7-Eleven,
Oh
And I would get, she worked the night shift too, so you get like the half drunk crowd most of the time, and like I'd go in there and sit with her and just hearing the people in there, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Like, is that normal for you
Yeah.
guys? You have to deal with this
And
constantly?
then like that too, and like being a girl, they get like the shittiest of the shitty, because then there's all the dudes that come in there being all fucking grimy towards them. It's like, holy fuck. So not only are you dealing with the assholes that are just fucking shitty, then you're also dealing with the fucking crazy perverts that just creep on you, and you can't tell them to go because you're in a fucking public store. Like, you can kick them out, but you can't stop them from coming and going, man.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for any woman that has to deal with that shit.
Yeah, it's can get to a point where it's potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
too, which
Yeah.
I'm like, God, man,
Real shit.
Convenience
definitely
store
blessed.
worker has to be a weird job.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, as a woman, I'd feel more comfortable working at Wawa. Like, you see a lot of girls working at Wawa, but to work at, like, Fast Smart or one of those just little, like, quick off-the-exit gas stations or 7-Eleven, like...
Where they keep you in there by yourself all the time.
Yeah. All overnight and shit.
Where they have the skill games in there. People just hang
Yeah.
out all day long,
Gambling.
screaming at this machine.
Those things are everywhere.
Yeah,
They're like breeding or something. They just keep popping up.
yeah.
It's just that normalization of the gambling, and plus we got legal gambling now, so it's like everybody's trying to take
Yeah.
advantage of that shit.
Well, I guess it's like store owners get some sort of cut or something
Oh,
for
yeah.
putting it in their store.
Probably.
So why not, right?
Feed them addictions. In every facet you can. That's how you make money, is feed people's
Yeah,
addictions.
just like walk down the sidewalk and stare at Facebook all day, and walk in 7-Eleven and put it down and fucking play the machine.
Right. I just never even like understood how to play those games either.
Right,
Like
yeah.
I've had, and
Just push a button.
even the regular stuff too, like Keno or like the horse tracks. Like I go out in Fairview Beach and hang out at was it Tim's is technically in Maryland, so they have some of the casino games, or they have Keno and like the virtual horse betting, and my buddy explains it to me. And
How
I'm
about
like,
you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can go out there and bet on horses?
They're not even real horses.
They're not real
though.
horses.
It's the weirdest shit ever,
That's
bro.
right.
Like,
They
you don't-
show like this screen, and it's a bunch of cartoon horses running, and you gamble on them. Like,
That seems rigged.
I have one friend who wins, like, does pretty well on them, and he's, like, tried to explain it. And I'm like, dude, it's just not for me. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here all day and
You
throw
can't
money.
go up there and like actually place bets on like the horse race that comes. What's the horse race that comes to Maryland?
I don't,
It's like
I don't
Capital
think they
Downs or
run
some
the
shit
real
like
ones.
that. Huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird.
I'm sure it's a
But there's some of the dudes that go in there, they'll fucking win like $5,000 a night. It's fucking crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play any like casino style card games, or like I've never been to a casino and play like slots or anything, but I would like to gamble on sports. I used to watch a lot of sports growing up, so I have like a thick, stupid knowledge of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I had like a good capital to go bet on an NFL season, that I would make some money off that.
Right.
Some kind of inside scoop.
Some kind of insights.
I don't know, man. Like, I see people that get really into that stuff. I'm like, you guys got it. You got it figured out. Like, I just don't have time.
Man, that too. And like a lot of those people that do gamble, like everybody's got their own shit. And I'm not like judging anybody, but the one thing I notice about a lot of people is they'll be like, yeah, I came up $1,000, but they don't tell you about the 4,000 they burned to come up that 1,000.
Right,
It's
right.
like, and going back to like my girl working at 7-Eleven, there was this guy that came in there almost every night religiously, and he was a server, and he would spend $100 on scratch off tickets like every night. And like that's you come in 7 days a week, you just spent $700 in 1 week, bro. Like,
How much could you be getting ahead in life with that much
right?
money?
And you could tell he would do it single scratcher at a time. So he would like get one and lose and be like, and then like, okay, give me another one. And then like he would just go through that process over and over until he at least got one winner. And it's like, you're losing money hand over fist just to get that little rush of.
I'm sure that ride and like that anticipation is like that's got to be like a drug, man.
Right.
Like,
Not for the scratch off,
waiting, well, like even
then,
whatever
yeah.
your thing is, you know, you're just waiting for the one
that
day.
dopamine hit. You're like, oh fuck, I want.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it though. There was a time when I was living at the motel. We lived right next to a gas station. I went over there and got like a $5 scratch off and $1.30 on it, and it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then like for the next 2 weeks, I was there every day buying like, you know, $2 to $7 worth of scratch off tickets, trying to win that 30 or that 60.
Yeah.
And I never broke even.
I've only ever bought one scratcher in my life and I lost, and I was like, yep, not for me. I just got horrible luck. I've never played the lottery because my uncle always told me, he was like, man, the lottery is literally just the poor man's tax. It's a game that poor people pay into just to give the government a huge chunk of it when somebody happens to win it. So it's like,
I mean, you don't get all of that money.
No, because they take most of it in taxes.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. They tax you when you buy it, then they tax you again when they give it to you.
And it's not like that.
You buy something with it, they tax you for owning it.
It's like, fuck. You can't. That's the funny thing about the whole system. You can't actually ever own anything.
Yeah.
Like, you get a car, you stop paying your personal property taxes on that car, they come and get the car, so what's the point in even owning the car in the first place? Like,
Yeah. We're taxing you because you have nice shit.
yeah. Even if it's not nice,
Yeah.
no, you have a real car.
I drove a 03 Civic, and I'm like, y'all want $45 for me to own this piece of shit car? Come on, man.
No, you're right. It is like a never-ending circle of fucking bullshit, especially with those property taxes, man.
Yeah, and you didn't even vote for it, so taxation without representation, right?
I know. I'm sorry.
I just bought a house this year, too.
Oh, you're fucked.
And like, I'm like, man, I guess this is it. It's
Yeah.
game over for me now, guys.
Yeah, you're not gonna get money back at the end of the year anymore.
You're trapped in Fredericksburg forever for the next 30 years.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Like,
If we even have
don't
that
mind
long.
it really. Like I'm in Port Royal, so I'm like far enough away from like traffic and all the crazy stuff. It's quiet. I'm more concerned with like bugs eating me alive than anything else out there.
Because you're out in the country.
Yeah, dude. They have, like bugs. Something just hits you in the face. Feels like somebody's shooting a BB gun. Like, how do I get rid of them? I like it though. I like this area. I mean, I like especially what you guys are doing too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's something that I wanted to have in this area is like a more like, I don't know how to put it, like a communal art scene, whether it's,
Right.
you know,
All
different
everything.
things. You know, we all each kind of have different mediums and, you know, can at least commiserate or, you know, celebrate the highs and the lows of it.
For sure.
You know?
Yep. I really like the way that's been happening too. Like within my network and outside of my network, you just see so many like cross promotions and people working together and stuff like that. Like the artistic culture and community in Fredericksburg is really building up.
Yeah.
I really believe this town could be something special, like Austin or Portland, at least in that aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I keep Fredericksburg weird.
Yeah.
But there is still a lot of that old heads club around here, and those a lot of like commuter people around here that work up in DC and
And the old heads club is training the young heads club, so
Yeah.
it's a constant struggle of planting the seeds of change.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think art is super important, and we do have some amazing fucking artists around here. I'd like
Yeah.
to see more like murals in downtown Fredericksburg that aren't just like a colonial rendering of, you know, what
Yeah.
something would look like. Like that stuff's cool, and I respect the history, but
My main thing with that kind of shit, like I get wanting to celebrate history and all of this shit, but at what point do we make the transition from celebrating all of old to going into the new realm?
Right.
Like, because we're not fucking colonial anymore. There's nothing, like, we might have had Civil War shit here, but like, why are we still all about that? Why can't we transition into the new era of where we're going, not
Yeah.
just stay stuck on all this shit that was.
It's like, is the town really making that much money off like tourism dollars for Civil War and colonial attractions?
I feel like it can't be like sold. Like, I would love to see the statistics on that for real, but like I can't, compared to like people that I meet that like, yeah, we're here because like this is the spot between a bunch of different trails to hike at, or like we love the Rappahannock, and you know, like kind of going back to where you were saying about like murals and colonial stuff like that. I'm like, the Rappahannock River is beautiful. Mm-hmm. If you had an artist rendition of like some of the rapids, or like even like some of the architecture in the background, I think tons of people would be more happy with that than just kind of harboring on this old shit from years and years.
You guys know what I'm talking about, like on the side of those buildings on like Caroline Street and stuff, they have all those like the little boy pushing a stick or whatever type shit like that. It's like, why can't we can keep some of that stuff too, but it'd be cool to like just put up something, I don't know, a little bit fresher.
That's what I'm saying. I don't mean like get rid of all of it, but it's like at some point we have to start making a transition, because are we still going to be having that shit 200 years from now?
Right.
Like what about the people from this era that are great? Like what about the people in our generation and the people a few before us that have made an impact around here? Like shit, the only newest mural I've seen is that picture of Jim in the back of Spirits.
Like, a good mural. Makes me feel like I'm on Bourbon Street.
Right.
I like that mural.
You see have you guys been to the Sunken Well lately? See, Gabe Pons did some work on like the front of that. He owns the pawn shop, PON shop.
Yeah.
He did some work over there. It's beautiful. Honestly, like, I would love to see him do, you know, just something huge, like on the side of a building somewhere, still like giving artists that space and like kind of just giving them a shot. I mean, what's the worst that could really happen if they're coming to you with a good idea? You know, obviously it'll be at the worst a nice photo op for people, and you're still getting business. You know, if it's your building, even if it's just like that's the building that everybody takes pictures at. At least you got that.
Right. No, I think art is important to culture, and then like we've been beating to death. The only art around here at least in the open, seems to be like that colonial stuff. So yeah, it would be cool to see something newer. I'm interested to see what this bridge and that park look like once they finish renovating the William Street Bridge, and they're building like a park on Sophia Street up towards like Brock's. Yeah. That's going to be nice.
That bridge needed to get some work.
Yeah, it did.
It's like I can't survive another winter on the fucking Chatham Bridge.
Like the never-ending potholes that just keep coming back. No matter how much coal patch they put in it, it just keeps coming back.
I used to like walk across that bridge to work, like when I lived in Stafford and I didn't have a car, and like just walking across, you see like holes. Like, you just look down at the river, like in the middle of the bridge. I'm like, this is nice. Good thing you guys are working on that.
The sidewalks were like right up against the road.
Same with the Falmouth Bridge. Yeah. They need to fix that one next.
I don't see them doing it like they're doing the one.
Yeah, they'd have to just like build a new bridge next to it.
Yeah, just with the fucking amount of traffic through there, that would be so horrible.
I love how this conversation went to infrastructure.
Man, we're talking the important shit here.
I'm really excited for the mellow mushroom that they're building. You know, it's gonna be cool.
Yo, speaking of that kind of shit, like I was, since all this fucking COVID shit and being in quarantine, it took me so long to realize that they tore down the Freelance Star building. Yep. And that shit blew my mind. Like, that's like one building that I never thought we'd see just get fucking demolished. Yeah. But I guess like since the age of the internet hit, they really don't need a fucking building like that.
I think their building is in Central Park now, if I'm not mistaken. But and all their shit is based out of town, like Alpha Media Company or whatever is based out of Washington State, I believe. What? But I thought that they would,
that's some wrong
like who runs all the radio companies and stuff like that.
It cannot be a hard job because they play the same shit every day.
Right. It's like a 2-hour loop.
Yeah.
It's like they go through 2 hours of the same fucking playlist over and over and over.
One other thing, too, that Tony B always complains about, because Tony used to work for The Vibe and stuff, is that there's no, like, local touch on like the newer stations. There is on like 99.3 and I think B101.5.
Yeah.
But how many of us are listening to 99.3 and B101.5? Do you hear them talk about
the radio
what's going on in local downtown Fredericksburg and stuff like that?
It would have been nice, like, even when, I don't know if they did it when Tony was there or if they let him, but like live mixes and stuff like that. Like, I feel
Tony
like that kind of always put a nice touch on it. Like, you're still playing those songs that I'm sure, you know, they're like, you guys have to play this at some point, you know, and then you can play whatever you want. But you could still mix it up, at least, you know, make it better than press and play the whole time.
Or like have like a fucking local artist, like Power Hour or some shit, like once a week at least. Like,
if there's any local musicians that have music that's not sold off to labels and they want to get their music played, I think Eric and I were talking about, Eric who runs FXBG, we were talking about just trying to get people's music like that and putting together like a radio station, kind of like a pirate radio, that would just kind of play free music. It would help people get their names out there.
I would definitely listen to that.
Yeah. I think if we want cool stuff like we were talking about, we have to like go do it ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, like, the only reason I met Andy Schuster was because we were both throwing a show at Casey's at the same time. We got like double booked basically.
Right.
And like, it's like, you're doing an EDM show? I'm like, I'm kind of doing an EDM show. All right, let's be friends, man. Like, figure this out, you know.
How big was that show? Were you guys both promoting at the same night?
I think it was all right. It wasn't, you know, anything super crazy. Like, we got pushed to the JP side, and then he kind of had the main room. And then I was like, oh, damn, they have, like, way more sound equipment than we had. And that was pretty much, like, the last show that, like, I tried to, like, host or anything like that. We had one more before then and had some artists and stuff come out. I think, like, the big selling point was, like, just free vending, like, if anybody wanted to do it. So it ended up being more like a market, basically, like a shakedown street with, like, a little bit of music, you know. But his show had the lights and the sound and everything, and I was like, man, you guys know exactly what you're doing. Like, they were pulling some heads. Like, I'm glad to see that, like, that went on for a while there.
It's actually how I met Andy, too, because I was helping Chubb and Tony promote a show they were doing at the Canal Club, and Andy was on the bill.
Nice.
And then, so I, like, added him on Facebook, because I was adding everybody who was on it, so I could, like, tag them in the post and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then I met him at the show, and shit, we've been friends ever since. Then I met you through that same group of people. I've met both of you guys through the same group of people, actually. Because I think the first time I met you was at Sunken Well.
Yeah. I think you were there for Sean Walker's art show. And Andy was playing it.
Yep. Yeah. Andy and Chubb were spinning.
Yeah.
And then I met you at KC's, right? That was the first time I met you, was at KC's at
the rave.
Yep. In one of Andy's shows. Probably added you guys on Facebook first. Shout out to Evil Monstar.
Yeah.
Today on How You Met Andy.
Yeah. It's fucking 8 degrees of Andy. Straight up.
I met Andy through Eric.
Yeah. Didn't Eric bring Andy and Katie to one of your shows at Katora?
Nah, back when we were doing Bourbon Room every Sunday.
Okay.
Him and Katie used to come to a lot of them. It's cool.
I miss them. I miss my friends. That's probably
I seen him the other day.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. We're doing good.
That's the thing I miss most about everything that's going on, is just like the times we used to all get together and get weird and shit and fucking hang out.
Don't worry, it's coming back. We're all about to get vaccines.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm not important enough to get microchipped.
It's not about microchipping. It's just about getting the vaccine.
Yeah, I know.
Sterilization, man. Come on. Get it
Sterilization.
I'll take it if anything that leads to a little bit of normalcy, like.
Is the road you want to go down? Is the road you want to go down? We can play that. We can do that. I'm just gonna start making up even faker conspiracies to go with the other conspiracies.
Might as well.
I mean,
psyop inside the psyop.
Yeah, dude. It starts to feel like that at a certain point. Like, you know how I am, and you know how I am too. Yeah. We've done the podcast for it, but it's like, man, I've been kind of getting away from that shit. It's so overwhelming, and it's like everyone on the internet's a fucking conspiracy theorist now. Mm-hmm. Everyone.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. The Wayfair thing, when I first saw it, I was like, hold up. Like, did somebody just figure this shit out? I'm like, all right. What are you doing, man? It's the internet. Take everything with a grain of salt. Like, there's no way.
I waited to fucking... I was like, I'm already focused on one pedophile. I don't need to fucking... don't need the rest of them. We can take them all down with one. Fuck.
Mike's going to be up there reverse searching all the orders. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to see someone order one and then be like, that's not what I wanted. Just send it back. Your $15,000 cabinet.
Right.
Like, oh, you sure, man? Sure you don't want to keep that?
What was the reason for the cabinets being that expensive? Was it like a typo, or they're just like handmade?
I've heard glitch. I've heard they're actually priced accurately. Like, it's just there's a different thing every 5
They must be
minutes.
like handmade out of the rarest wood.
Even if it was like solid titanium.
They were made by the
like-
little kids at the Raven.
Yeah.
During the day, they have them whittling wood.
Is that too far?
No, not at
No,
all.
it was almost. I was thinking it. You said it. I'm glad you did. Good times. The mountain. I'm pretty excited for that. That was an
Me
awesome good morning
too.
text.
Me fucking too. I'm going regardless. I don't give a fuck.
Do we have to socially distance there?
I don't know. I don't care if I gotta lay up in the woods in my hammock. I'm still gonna be there.
Going to the mountains?
Yeah, one of my buddies puts on this little festival every year
Okay.
in September, and they weren't sure if it was gonna be able to happen with all the COVID shit, so they got the date set, and they're gonna go with it regardless. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go.
I think they just had Transformus out at Marvin's Mountaintop not too long ago. It's like the small local Burning Man that they do out in like
Yeah.
West Virginia every year.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I might have never heard about that before.
It's pretty interesting. How cool are you with public nudity?
fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be alright.
Sounds weird.
Yeah.
Sounds extra weird. Sounds fun.
It's pretty extra.
Good times, man. You know, fuck.
Good times. Good times, fucking indeed. Oh my gosh. Have you guys been dealing with this shit?
So I've just been busy. Like I started getting my house like right when all of this shit went down, and like my biggest worry was like the bank pulling out on me and being like, yeah, we can't do anything.
Would
But,
you
like,
avoided?
Nah, I don't know. I mean, I had everything kind of lined up perfectly for me, so I was like, yeah, we're just gonna go through this. They were more so like, you're still trying to do this, right? Like, given everything that's going on, I'm like, yeah.
Please
like,
please
honestly,
still
I'm
be
moving
mine.
away from people, so like, bring it on.
Yeah, right on. Do you have a nice spot? Like, how close are your neighbors?
There's like an 80-acre field next to me, and then like, I met my first neighbor like a couple weeks ago, and he is at least a good 2 miles away, and it was
Damn.
like,
Oh hell yeah!
dude
yeah.
in a red pickup truck wearing nothing but denim overalls rolls up, and like, I'm outside. He gets out of his truck and he's like, "Hey, I'm your neighbor. Let me know if you see an orange cat running around here. He likes to hang out in this field." I'm like, "Nice to meet you, man."
Nice to meet your neighbor.
Yeah.
They didn't give you a phone number or anything. He's like, I'm your neighbor.
Yeah. Oh, at first I'm like, this guy's wearing the uniform of the last person I'm gonna see. Like, what do you want? He's like, I'm looking for my kitty. I'm like, all right, this guy's all right.
This sounds even more like a serial killer now. He took Kitty back home.
Can't be that bad, man. He likes cats.
No, he's got a woman in a hole in his barn.
The cat is how he gets the women to get in the hole.
It's like a little dog that Buffalo Bill pets.
What do you think I got pit bulls for? I mean,
Oh, look at the pit bull. I got a bag of dum-dums in my van.
Yeah. I don't know,
The
man.
bartender at Rec Center gave me this the other night when I left. He was like, here's a bag of dum-dums. And I'm like, I don't think the moms at Alum Springs are going to find this as funny as you and I do. But fuck that, man. Don't tell the people in Marketplace, but fuck that. I'm so excited to sell that thing, man. Mike's been giving me shit about it for months. I'm like, no. I've been very stubborn. Like, I'm not going to sell the van. I love this van. And now the other day I messaged Mike, so I was like, yeah, so I'm going to sell the van.
And I was like, what did we learn about making good investments?
Don't buy cocaine.
That is actually sound advice.
You can buy cocaine as long as you don't do it. I'm just kidding, kids.
If you buy cocaine, give it directly to me. And I won't do it.
I always wanted a van. I never had the privilege, but I always thought it'd be cool.
The privilege?
Yeah.
That was a very leftist thing to say. I got van privilege now? What the fuck?
I've never been in this situation where I'm like, there's a van that I really want to buy. It's always been like, I need something that's fucking cheap.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Real shit. This fucked up thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've never understand this. Like, when I'm fucking strapped for cash and I needed a vehicle, every time I have, like, I've always been able to find, like, some Honda or some shit like that in, like, a decent, like, 16 to fucking $2,000 range, right? But for the first time in my life, I've got a bunch saved up, and, like, I can't find anything worthwhile that's, like, in my price range. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. But, like, I actually have a lot of money right now, and I can't find shit that's worth it.
It's always when you're not super pressed on it either, too. Like, it's not like a how am I going to get to work situation. It's just like, I want to get something nice and new. It's never around.
Heard it. It was like,
but then when you're, like, barely scraping by, like, something always comes through.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You're trying to get a truck, aren't you?
A truck or SUV. But, like, since I have money, I want it to be something I want, not just something I need, you know what I mean? Like, because every other time it's like, just take what you can get and roll with it, like, because you just need it. But this time I think I'm going to end up just biting the bullet. I don't want to go in debt, but I think I'm going to just end up fucking using it as a down payment and
getting something nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a good job, man. You're a hard worker. You're a steady, consistent worker.
It's not about that, Scott. It's about conforming to the man, man.
Oh, okay, I get it.
I'm not trying to get in debt.
Put your name on something.
You don't want to finance a vehicle.
I don't want to finance it. I mean, the banks are going to collapse anyway, so...
Right. Let's get back to that.
It always comes back full circle.
When I'm elected president, we're going to back the Federal Reserve with rose quartz and sage. So.
Or bullets. I mean, no. I'm sorry, I did not say that.
Brass. Lots and lots of brass.
At least, hopefully, gold just keeps on going up the way it has been, which sucks for...
Why, you got a bunch at your house? What's your address?
No. Well, dude, I wish. And honestly, like, it's not good for me that gold goes up because as a glassblower, we use it for color-changing pipes.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because, like, of course, there's a finite amount in the world, and there's a bunch of these wooks that are just like, let me melt it into this fucking $25 bowl. Blast that shit onto a piece of glass. Like, pretty much can't get it out of there after that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I have a couple friends that are, like, really into it. And I think it's so weird because I remember, like, being a kid and, like, being sick and, like, sitting home from school and watching bullshit that's on, like, daytime TV. And there's all these commercials about, like, buy gold now, buy gold from us, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, well, the shit, and since then, the shit has skyrocketed in price. I'm like, damn, they're like, these old motherfuckers were actually right a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of it, too, is because all the hoarding of gold. Like, because, like, a lot of countries are just doing that. Like, they just hoard gold. That's why a lot of those companies exist, because they're like, yeah, we will buy your gold because we just want to make it into a bar and put it into our safe.
Yeah.
So nobody else can get their hand on it. Like, which is fucking retarded, because... Like, I understand wanting wealth, but what the fuck is the point of having millions in gold bars locked in a box?
Like, it's just a weird circle that humans get locked in.
Right.
Because another thing, too, is, like, if end times come, it's like, bro, I would rather trade for, like, food than, like, gold. Like, what the fuck? Like, I feel like gold is going to be a resource that we start trading around when the, economic collapse comes, when the fucking fall of society, the fall of Rome. Yeah. Who's gonna give a shit about gold?
Right, you can't eat that shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You can, but It's just like, I mean, other than using it for like electronics and shit like that, like I get that purpose and like actually, but at the end of the day, it's just
shiny rock.
Yeah, it's literally just a shiny fucking rock.
It's a weird circle that we're trapped in as humans, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just like a diamond. A diamond is just a fucking fancy rock. Like, it's not nothing special about it. They just plant that seed in your head that a diamond's what you need for this.
Right.
And then they make some fucking...
Diamonds are one of the most easily made
right.
stones in the world, too. Like, you don't even have to pull them out of the ground.
Right.
It's just carbon stacked on top of itself perfectly.
Right.
Like, it's the easiest thing to make.
And then when it is pulled out of the ground, it's pulled out by some poor slave in a third world country. It's like, yeah, you're wearing diamonds that some fucking poor fucker slaved for you. Like, go you. Because you got something fancy. How much did that cost you again?
Yeah.
Is your kid going to college? Like
he pulled it out of the ground for like a bowl of rice, basically.
If that.
Yeah.
And half the time they do it at gunpoint, man. And I'm like I said, I'm a heavy equipment operator, and like anybody, if you have never watched Blood Diamonds before, you should probably go watch Blood Diamonds, because like you see some of the conditions that these people are pulling minerals out of the ground, and it is literally horrible. Like they just dig random pits in the ground and they'll be pulling it out with buckets and by hand and shit, and it's like we have the technology to fucking mine anything we want, like we anywhere in the world
efficiently
and safely. Like these people are in like deep ass holes that can collapse at any moment, because dirt, when you start digging in dirt becomes super unstable. Like you get anywhere from like 2 foot to 20 feet, your walls are going to start caving in everywhere. It's just how the earth works. We take the stability away, and it's like you see these people in these holes where water's running through and edges are caving in, and there's somebody up there. Half the time there's somebody with a fucking gun making sure that they keep working. And it's like all that happens just so you can sit over here and look at your finger.
Yeah.
Or fucking show off that shit. And then you're so proud to have your necklace that has 20 fucking diamonds around it, and you don't give a shit about the poor soul that had to fucking get that diamond out of the ground. And like that's the one thing that I hate about this whole realm of existence, is like just so much of this double standard hypocrisy about everything is like
it's hard though. I mean, even like this, it's, you know, there's
especially
so much much that we do to contribute to like third world slavery, as well as other things, but that specifically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of a catch too, because like if they were made in America, the cell phone would be $2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're lucky enough to have a EPA, and like they care about the air that we breathe. I mean, look at most of the stuff's assembled in China. They just don't have the standards that we do. They have literally no standards. It's another thing that like.
That's why they've been walking around with masks like that for years because of SARS and smog from all the fucking factories.
And it kind of going back to like another reason that I do really like working in the shop that I work at is we kind of do a lot of, you know, our due diligence to make sure we're not just grabbing any bulk amount of like Chinese pipes and stuff like that, because it's a big issue for amongst the glass blowing community is the child labor laws out there, and the conditions in which people are making some of the glass pipes that people smoke out of. Like most of the stuff you find in like a, you know, Citgo or just like a gas station or something like that, like it's probably made by like a 12-year-old. Yeah. Probably made with no ventilation, like breathing in literally just particles of broken glass just floating in the air. You know?
And I never really thought about that, about cheap glass and cheap pipes like that.
Right.
They're definitely getting...
A lot of it's probably not ran under a sink after it's being made, you know. And even some of the color, like the color has to be melted in properly or else it can chip off from the inside. You're breathing in or swallowing a chunk of broken glass, basically.
Right.
Like, I think it's something like... I get I totally understand the customer, though. That's like, I just need a fucking pipe. Like, I have $10, I have $5, like, I just need a pipe, you know? And
We've all been there.
yeah, totally. I mean, it's just...
But now that you say that and put that out in the air, it makes me more conscious of my pipe buying in the future. Is that
and you know, some of it too, like some stuff you can definitely spot a little bit easier than others, but there's a lot of shaping too that is done in America. Like an artist will, you know, shape something, like the guy who makes dinosaurs or the guy who makes birds, you know, they make this design, and then China, since they don't have any of these like trademark laws or anything like that, they can just look at it and make a cheap version of it and sell it for, you know, a quarter of the price. Like something that would normally take a single artist a couple days maybe to make, they just make it with subpar colors and, you know, a team of guys that are getting paid 25 cents an hour or something like that, you know. And then they're like, I can't fight them on it. Like, they're not even in this country.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, like, try to go to head shops, like, anytime I go to a new city or something like that and just look at kind of what they have on the shelf. And honestly, I'm always excited when I see a shop that is, like, mostly American made. You know, I know there's some stuff that, like, it's not cost efficient to buy made in America all the time, but, you know, kind of just fit in where you can, you know. If you can get away with having, you know, only 75 or 25% of what you carry being imported, then you're doing pretty good, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's almost just like content theft, basically, but for like glass artists. They're like, that's literally exactly what I make, but this guy's selling it for a fraction of the price, and it doesn't even have the artist's name on it. It just like takes food like out of their family's mouth, basically.
Right.
It's like when you go to Dollar Tree and buy Hi-Man, and it's just like a little knockoff of He-Man or something like that.
Or like the fake roars, man. Like the fake roars are like the big thing. Like I couldn't tell you how many people have come in and like, need to douse them. It's for a roar. And, you know, they kind of just show me a picture of it. I'm like, man, you got ripped off. Like,
really?
or maybe you didn't get ripped off. Maybe the price was right, but it's not a real roar.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
I never thought about that either. So you got people out there making like knockoff brands, like you would with clothes and shit.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of people try to take advantage of like the cannabis community for that, because it is about branding. Like, you know, whether you're branding yourself or you're running a company, like, people pay attention to that stuff when they're buying a pipe, whether they're buying a cartridge or just like some really nice flower, you know.
Yeah, and that's almost the same, like, through every market.
Yeah.
From top down. Like, why people like Gucci and shit like that. You're just paying for a name. I mean, there's quality to it, but...
Yeah, a lot of it's status.
Yeah, a lot of it's just status and name.
When I go to Bong, I like to have just like a Toastmaster.
Yeah.
They're so
They're made in America. Still, like, they've been around for decades, man. We still have customers that are like, I love it. It's great. I'm like, cool. Yeah. Whatever floats your boat, man. Like,
I like them because they're just simple, man. Like, I don't need a percolator. I actually hate the percolator. Like, I don't want to deal with cleaning all that shit.
Yeah.
I like the Tobacco Master, the Toke Master, because it's just a straight shaft. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's nothing fancy. It is what it is.
Yeah, I have a couple of pieces that are definitely, like, not the funnest things in the world to clean. It's, like, a very special occasion that I pull it out. Not because, like, it's gonna break, just, like, it's a pain in the ass to clean.
Right. Do you have your own... Do you smoke out of your own pieces?
Not usually, because I try to... Like, I definitely buy a lot of glass from other artists, too, because definitely want to, like, try and keep the scene going, you know, support other people that are trying to make cool stuff. Like, I think I actually, like, really got the first nice piece that I got from Natty's before I started working there, and I bought a raffle ticket and bought one raffle ticket, then like a drawing they were doing, and like went home, took a nap, checked my messages on my phone afterwards, like, yo, you won this raffle. It was like really nice, you know, $1,200 piece, and I was I was hooked. I was like, yeah, I just want to collect all of these, have a piece from all these different guys that are just busting out sick work. And, you know, it started as such like an underground thing that like, it was almost like graffiti in a sense. Like you could definitely like spot and recognize like, oh, that's, you know, a snick piece, or that's an elbow piece, that's a calm piece, you know. And now since it's been, you know, Prohibition ending and we're so many years down the line on it, like it's blown up. Yeah. There's so many of these pieces out there from all these different guys, and they don't really lose value that much. Yeah. Like even having somebody's early work is still like somebody out there was like be willing to buy it off of you if you ever needed to sell it.
So does Virginia have a lot of like good, well-known glass blowers?
There's a good chunk. I would say so. In the immediate area, like one of the guys that I kind of learned a lot of tricks from is a friend of mine, Garden of Eden Glass, and he's kind of traveled and does similar to what I do, like makes a lot of production style stuff, but also if he needs to get really sick with it, like he can. You know, he's not gonna pull any punches. He'll get super sick with it and spend a lot of time on a single piece. He actually just won first place at Flame Off last year in Pennsylvania, I think is where we were. Made like a super fat marble that looked like it had a flower inside of it, and then a Sherlock for big dudes, pretty much. Like a little Sherlock pipe that was like this tall with like 6 marbles all over it. You know, he's like, I just see how much stuff I can stick on this thing. You know? Sometimes that's what you got to do. You know, right. Turn it up a little bit where you can. They gave him 12 hours to make it, and like when you're put in a competition like that, I feel like people it's a test for themselves too. Like, I gotta manage my time well, but I also like gotta fit out, you know, something really setting yourself apart from everyone else in those 12 hours.
They have that glass blowing show on Netflix, and you can see how stressed out those people get with that time limit and stuff.
Definitely. And soft glass, like it's so team oriented. Like I feel like borosilicate pipe makers, like we're kind of a one-man show a lot of the time versus working in a hot shop like that. Like you gotta really trust the guy that's about to catch your piece when it's coming off that rod, because you could have just wasted hours of work if that guy's doesn't know what he's doing. I'm sure like anything else, even in your job too, like you gotta really trust your coworkers.
Yeah, especially that shit gets kind of scary because like you're in this fucking giant-ass steel fucking contraption, and you got people walking around you all the time, and you got other machines and shit, and, like, we got backup alarms and stuff like that, but you can't always see people, and then, like, you'll have some instances where, like, people just pop up out of nowhere, and it is fucking scary, man, because, like, you can get your life taken and or take a life like that. Because like accidents happen. I've almost lost mine in my field of work. Like when I first got into this shit, it's what like really opened my eyes to how quickly things can go wrong. Is like I was doing pipe and I was on the ground, and there was a big excavator, which is the one with the big arm that pulls back to you, and there was a front end loader, which is a big rubber tire machine with forks on the front of it, and it had this big ass rack of what's called C900 pipe. It's just big ass PVC pipe that's real thick and heavy, and I was in between the excavator and the rack of pipe about to pull a piece of pipe off, and the ass end of the excavator came around, and I felt it hit my back, and I was like, oh shit. And then like it let off, and then it smashed me again, and I was stuck in between this big ass rack of pipe and this excavator. And like I'm trying with everything I can to yell, but it pushed all the wind out of me, so like all I could make is like a sound, and like I'm like sitting there looking at the guy across from me, and he's like in shock. And fucking, like, luckily the guy on the excavator wasn't paying any attention because he just kept moving. So, like, he swung through it, and it ended up, like, he ended up touching more of the pipe and it threw me and the whole bundle of pipe out onto the ground, and like I had these big 10-inch circles all down my front from where I was bruised. And like, fuck, man, it hurt so bad. Yeah, it felt like I was getting popped because it was like just squeezing the life out of me, man. I just like laid down on the ground. I could barely fucking move, and like ever since that day, it's just like, yeah, things. I was only like 20, you know, so it's like
grateful for everything after that.
Yeah, real shit, because it's like anything can happen in a matter of seconds, and that's with anything in life. Like, you can put that to anything. You can be walking down the street one minute and get taken out by anything like it.
Yeah.
So it's like
so live it up while you can.
Yeah.
It pays to be, you know, grateful for what you have experienced and for like what you're about to experience.
Right.
Even if it sucks, it's like at least you have the option of going through a shitty situation.
Yeah, right. It could have been the last one.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known it was shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's wild, man. You never told me that story before.
Yeah. That's probably like the closest I've ever been in my life to like actually dying.
Yeah.
Like,
you have any near-death experiences, Jacob?
So I was a volunteer fireman when I was, I think, 18 or 19 up in Stafford, and I thought I broke my back, basically, and I was paralyzed because it was honestly like a rookie mistake. Like, we were filling up one of the tanks on the top of the truck, and I like climbed up in there and, you know, was trying to step down and messed my footing up, basically fell off the side of like a pretty decent sized fire truck directly onto my back. And like my arm was like, we were going out for a call, like everybody was in the car about ready to go, and like thankfully, you know, the guys were paying attention and doing their job and saw me and kind of got me out of the way before the truck moved. But at the time, I was like, this car is going to run me over, and like that's going to be it. Then I got crushed by a fire truck in a firehouse. A couple times with blowing glass, but nothing like really super major. Like a couple times I thought I was going to, like, I did something wrong and thought molten glass was going to hit me in the face, but I don't think that would have killed me. I think it would have just like
hurt like fuck,
made me a pariah for the rest of my life. Nobody would want to look at my face.
So do you wear protective gear since then?
So we wear like didymium lenses because you can get what they call sodium flare from staring into the flame.
Okay.
Kind of like welders,
Kinda like
you know. But we kind of have to use like particularly didymium glasses because we're not using like acetylene. We're using oxygen and propane, and it's pretty bright.
Yeah.
And then, you know, other than that, there's not really much. I mean, some people that work on really big stuff, they wear like Kevlar sleeves and things like that. But I honestly if I was in the studio right now, I'd look like this, but with sunglasses on.
Right.
You know? It's kind of nice because some of those like hot shop workers working on big stuff, like
They have like the big gloves
they gotta
and
wear,
shit.
yeah, or they gotta wear like the space suit basically, you know.
Big heavy like chaps. I used to have to wear heavy chaps doing tree work. That would protect you from like if you kick back on a chainsaw.
Yeah.
They saved my ass a couple times too. I would have turned my fucking leg into hamburger meat if I didn't have chaps on.
I bet. And they make that shit for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even when I worked construction and did like sprinkler work and stuff like that, like I tried to at least be as on it as I could. You know, wear the glasses because getting, you know, pieces of metal or threads and crap like that in your face is not fun.
Mm-hmm. Shit, even something as basic as wearing jeans. Like, I got this scar right here, trying to cut my leg off with a chop saw. Yeah. One time when I was on the ground, I was doing pipe work and I was beveling the edge of a fucking piece of pipe in the ground, and I was standing all awkward because there was water in the bottom of the hole, and fucking saw I was holding the saw perfectly fine, and then I was wearing jogging pants, and fucking that bitch just went wow like that, and like I felt it bump my leg, But I didn't feel anything like that, and I was like, there's no way I'm not bleeding right now. Like, why didn't I feel that? And then, like, I look down, and then, of course, like, I feel the wet go into my boot, and I'm like, fuck.
I just cut myself.
Yeah, yeah. It was pretty cool, though, because, like, to make light of it, when I, like, pulled my pant leg up, I was like, oh, shit, it's gushing. Yeah. And then, like, I grabbed around my leg like this, and I'm, like, holding tight as I can. And I asked, like, one of the dudes to, like, get me something to tie it off with. And, like, I'm holding it tight, and it slowed the blood down a little bit. And then, like, when I went to let it loose to, like, tie the string he gave me, every time I would, like, let off of it, it'd just start gushing harder. Like, it's fucking weird.
Always wear your PPE, kids. Fuck. It's very important. Even just something as simple as, like, definitely it's super important for you to wear your glasses, but, like, just weed eating in the backyard, like, dude, wear glasses. Yeah. Just getting sawdust in my eye, like, doing tree work is it's just a pain in the ass. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, having to deal with that for an hour.
Yeah, it's weird, because, like, when I was younger, I definitely was like, I don't need all that shit. It's another thing to fucking carry, or it doesn't feel good. I mean, it kind of goes back to the masks out in public thing, too. Mm-hmm. Like, man, just fucking do it. Like, it will be worth it in the long run. Like,
right.
You know, these people aren't telling you, or, you know, making these rules, or, you know, giving you this advice to hurt you. Like, you know.
Same people tell me not to eat psychedelics, though.
Yeah,
Jacob,
that's true. Yeah.
It's a double standard.
It is. Definitely.
It's catch-22.
Most of the construction workers I knew kind of got down with pretty much about anything.
Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not like on the mass conformity conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Are you gonna give me an opportunity to cover my face up? Great. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. Thank you.
My thing is with all them people that are like super anti-mask and shit like that is like, I don't get how, like, I'm wearing this shit right now because we're all, like, real close to each other. Mm-hmm. I don't, like, all these people that are complaining about, like, dying and stuff from wearing a mask, are they, like, what kind of fucking mask do they have on, for one? Right. And are they wearing it, like, 24/7? Because, like, I put mine on when I'm going near people and then take the bitch off when I'm, like, away from people. So it's like I just don't get it. And then they're all like, it doesn't stop anything from going in. It's like, that's not the point. It's supposed to. It's the same reason a surgeon wears a mask when he's doing surgery. It's so your slobber doesn't fucking go all over the fucking place. It's like, it's not about saving it from going into you. It's about fucking keeping the amount spread out in the air.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I keep the bandana on pretty much as soon as I wake up if I'm going to be out in town. I take it off in the end of the day. Like, it's so easy. It's right there. Like, I don't want, like you were saying, like, what are you wearing that's, like, you know, hurting you? Yeah, like, how are you doing this wrong?
And half of them motherfuckers are like me and fat as fuck. Like, you're not worried about going to get that McDonald's they've programmed you to fucking shove down your pie hole, but you're worried about fucking wearing a mask for 5 minutes, and then you're like, oh, it's a conspiracy to condition you. Where the fuck were you at when they've been taxing you fucking out of every fucking facet of your life? Yeah. Where the fuck are you on the ones that actually matter, like pedophiles? Why aren't you calling out your pedophile uncle that's been touching everybody in your family, but you're mad about a mask? Like, fuck out of here, man. Like, people are fucking babies. Yeah. Babies like shit. There's actually, like, real full proved conspiracies that you can actually go track down and fight, yet you're worried about something as simple as a mask that you can take off.
Right.
And you're not going to do anything about it anyway. What are you going to do? You gonna fucking stop the government from oppressing you? No. You're not. You're just going to bitch about it online. That's all you're going to do. And that's all everybody ever does, like, including myself. Like,
I also think, like, a lot of it, too, is, like you kind of going back to where you were saying, it's always the most unhealthy person that's complaining about it, too. Right. But also, like, they don't ever talk about, like, trying to help your immune system, either. Yeah. Like, all of this stuff, like, yeah, wash your hands, wear the mask. Like, yes, we should be washing our hands to begin with. 6 feet, I'm cool. Fucking stay 6 feet the fuck away from me. I don't know you. Like, I prefer that. But also, like, people really should look into, like, making sure their immune system is good enough to, like, withstand something like this.
Yeah, when they get done with the newscast, it's not like, this was brought to you by oranges, vitamin C. It's
Right.
good for you. It's like Burger King, Viagra.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That too, and I can't stand, another thing I can't stand, and now I say this as a person that used to smoke 2.5 packs of cigarettes a fucking day. If you are bitching about a mask and consuming cigarettes, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's all, like, fuck you. Like, and at the same time, like, I'm not saying that I want you to be mandated to wear a mask. I just want you to stop fucking trying to say that everybody that's wearing one is fucking some kind of fucking person that's
sheep.
Yeah, sheep. It's
Yeah.
like, no, motherfucker, come on, like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, no, we just like to have accountability a little bit. Like, we're trying to be
don't call
courteous.
me, yeah, don't call me a sheep because I care about your life.
Yeah.
How fucking dumb is that?
Yeah.
Do you guys think you'll still wear the mask after all this is done? In public places, at least like Walmart, grocery,
Probably,
like
dude, honestly,
places
like
that.
Walmart and Target and shit like that are gross as fuck, like,
Yeah.
all the time. So, like, honestly, I probably would. Like, I definitely would hope the 6 feet away thing stays in effect, because, like, I don't, like, if I know you, we're all friends here. Like, I'm not, you know, upset that anybody's that close. But even, like, going out to a bar or something like that, like, dude, get the fuck away from me. Like, I just don't like people's personal space being violated, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just never been cool.
For me, it all depends, like, where we're at, like,
Right, case by case basis.
yeah, like, because if we get to a point where we're all mandatory vaxxed, then it won't matter. But it really all depends. If it's anything like H1N1 or fucking SARS or any of that shit where it gets to a certain point through the population and then dies out because it can't keep running, then there won't be any point. And, well, not necessarily any point. Like you said, it's probably something good that we should have been doing, but,
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
I think I really would
It all
wish that,
depends.
like, it would also kind of take a good look at, like, what people eat as well, or at least, like, where our food comes from, too, because, I mean, I feel like a hypocrite because I do eat garbage food sometimes, and, like, definitely been trying to be a little, at least mindful about it, but, you know, and I'm not a crazy, like, PETA person, but I've definitely, like, seen some of these videos of, like, the factory farming, and you have, like, pigs that are shot up full of antibiotics. They're living in really dense, you know, groups. They're laying in their own. It's not. So you're doing all this, and then you're saying, okay, but it's good for everyone to eat. It's good for people to eat. I'm like, you just shot them up with, like, a bunch of drugs, and, like, that's just going to create, you know, antibiotic-resistant diseases, basically, for people to consume.
that too, and you're putting all the animals into stressful
Right.
environments, so it's like, and people can say what they want about, like, animals not being, I'm not saying I don't know if an animal is a conscious being or not, because I can't jump into the mind of a fucking animal, but you can clearly tell from interactions with animals that they definitely feel stress, they definitely feel joy, they definitely feel anger, and they definitely feel different emotions. So it's like when you got all these stressed out fucking animals into little fucking groups and then they get killed, you got all those different stress hormones inside the meat that you're consuming. So it's like,
I mean, yeah,
So it makes it taste better.
The proof is right there. Like, as soon as you try just the super shitty $2 steak from somewhere versus, like, a piece of, like, Wagyu, or, you know, somebody who actually knew what they were doing, and, you know, even if I don't need to know the cow's fucking name, but I at least would like to know that, like, it had a good life, you know, and that it shows in the quality of the food too.
Right. I've been trying to cut pork and, like, beef out of my diet. for religious reasons. Seriously, if a whole culture of people cannot eat a meat, like there's got to be a certain reason for it, right? All right, so I know that in Jewish culture they don't eat certain things,
shellfish,
right? But I had a Jewish friend explain to me that like they don't eat pork because it's about watching what goes into your mouth, and if you're mindful about what goes into your mouth, then you'll be more mindful about what goes out of your mouth, because they're like big into like words and creationism, like
that too.
God spoke creation into existence and shit like that.
They also, the way they slaughter their meat is they make sure to bleed it out while it's still alive. They just take a knife and pop its jugular vein and let it bleed out.
Is that supposed to be, I guess, more
the pure way?
Okay.
I think a lot of these traditions too, with some of these religions, might also kind of date back to the area that they were founded in, and like the people, like, you know, a lot of the basically the Jewish religion started as people wandering through the desert for a good portion of its history. And I'm sure there's definitely some shit out there that, or, you know, stuff that you come across when you have a chance that you just shouldn't eat.
That's what happens. They were walking through the desert, somebody ate some fucking pork, and they got sick because they ate pork in the middle of the hot
They're
desert.
like, okay, well,
that stuff's
God
evil.
doesn't want us to have it.
In Hinduism, they believe that cows are like a motherly creature, like a...
Yeah.
And also they believe in like the Brahma, which is like a bull. Or whatever. I also feel like healthier when I'm not eating pork and not eating beef, like red meat. But I would be open to eating, you know, still just buying chicken or fish, like, even though, and I'm not buying like processed meats anymore, like sandwich meats. I only buy like chicken breast and fish. But even that it's so much bullshit in there. You know what I mean? As opposed to like hunting and killing your own food and eating it.
You know what's kind of crazy?
Or raising and killing.
Like, me and Jeff were talking about this the other day. It's like, with the amount of people that we have in the world, like, we actually have to do it almost in the mass production way. Because if everyone in the world was a hunter and a fisherman, we would literally bankrupt the whole entire planet. Like, it would happen so quickly, because people would just be taking and taking and taking and never putting back.
Right.
But it's like, it's about doing it in a way that's not so fucking...
Yeah, or just not living beyond your means.
Right.
Yeah.
And that another thing with it too is like how much of that meat never gets bought off the shelf.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like that's another problem. So a lot of these animals are just dying just so their meat can go into a trash can somewhere.
No corporations consider like giving it to the homeless before it expires or anything like that.
Well, yeah, they just slap a $2 off sticker on it the last day of its expiration and hope that I come in there and buy it, which I will. But yeah, then they toss it the next day. You know what I mean? It goes in a hot bin. Then Joe Exotic and them show up and get trash cans full and go give it to the tigers.
Dude, I've honestly been trying a lot of different, like the Morningstar, like vegan stuff. Like my girl loves it, so she makes it all the time. And literally some of the stuff that she gets, she won't even tell me that it's vegan. And I try and I'm like, damn, it's really good. She's like, yeah, this shit was vegan. Guess you like it after all.
Yeah, I don't know about going full vegan. I think I still want to eat meat.
I love meat. I love steak. I love steak and, you know, I like barbecue, but... there's definitely some substitutes out there that I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. There's definitely, like, I was a vegetarian for 5 years, and the only thing I can say about vegetarians and all the supplement stuff is like people like it's good to substitute things, but you're still getting something that is overly processed. Like everything soy in America, all soy in America, 97% of soy in America is GMO. So you're hardly ever gonna get any soy that's non-GMO. Yeah. So you're getting chemically processed stuff. And like the one thing I try to say to people that do that is like, it sucks and having to work for it is hard, but like, make your own, because it is so easy to make a dank ass veggie burger. Like it really is, and it just takes beans. And also soy especially, makes people produce estrogen in their body, so it's like you can overload your system on that hormone, especially being a guy. It's not really the greatest thing for you, but like and two, another thing that I always had a problem with while I was vegetarian is that, like, the purpose of being a vegetarian is to go to liking things that aren't meat, not tricking your brain into substituting a meat. So like, you should be training yourself to not want a sausage patty, not like
Right.
Trying to eat veggie patties.
Like not trying to eat a veggie sausage patty to get your brain like, which I'm not. Nothing. It's nothing against anybody. Like, do you? I don't care what you do. It's just so. It's the same problem with regular processed food, like a fucking hot dog. Like it's just not the best thing for our bodies. It's not what we're supposed to be.
You don't want to train your brain into just like this visual thing where like this looks good because it looks like the thing that's not that I don't want to eat.
Right.
You want to train yourself to be like, that head of lettuce looks good.
Right. Like that actual like healthy
to actually
organic
have self-control.
Yeah.
I'm bad at that, dude. Like I'll be the first one to admit it. Like it's really hard for me to look at a lot of like leafy greens and be like, that looks good. I'm like, a couple of those would look good next to a big ass. Yeah, exactly. A couple of those would look good next to a steak or on a burger.
Or like they would be good on a taco.
Right.
Guys, I got another podcast. I don't, but the studio, FXBG Public Radio, has another podcast coming in.
How long have we been
here
talking
soon?
for?
Over an hour.
Oh, damn.
If anybody likes wrestling podcast World Order is next.
Oh, shit.
We're about to come in here and start fucking doing Hulk Hogan leg drops on everybody and shit. Have to get a hip replacement.
Get the table.
We got several.
I was going to say.
Any
the chairs.
Yeah, we
folding chairs.
We just need a ladder and a belt. You guys got any final thoughts?
I got some friends with TCW. I'll get the belts here real quick.
Bet. Any final thoughts, words of wisdom to if you were on broadcast television for every person in the world right now, what would you say?
Be kind to one another.
It's simple enough.
Yeah.
That's too dogmatic. Fuck that. Don't do that.
Some people suck. Be kind to one another. There you go.
That's better.
Yeah.
I like the balance.
Yeah.
I don't honestly know.
Don't let them tell you that Maxwell fucking killed herself.
Don't. No.
Didn't they like didn't that dude go up there and kill the judge that was like for the
Yeah, man. This was all kind of something I just found out like on the way over here. Just checking the news on my phone.
They tried to kill the judge. They ended up killing the son and wounding the husband. Okay. Or something like that.
Yeah.
So
the world is crazy.
Yeah, fucking the world is fucking crazy. And there you go.
You go.
Thanks for fucking saying something.
The world is crazy.
I know that a lot of conspiracy theorist people make things sound fucking crazy. But the worst thing you can do as a human being is say something can't happen.
Yeah.
Motherfucking people said that Hitler couldn't happen. Like, slavery fucking happened. Your government did syphilis trials, infecting fucking mass amounts of people with syphilis just to see the effects. Like, don't, like, we gotta, like, stop living in this, like...
Anything's possible.
Yeah, in this fake, like, reality of, like, shelteredness. Like, because, like, America's finally, like, getting a taste of what the rest of the world goes through. Because we've been so fucking sheltered here, whether anybody wants to, like, think about it or not, for the last few fucking decades, man. We haven't really felt the harshness and the realities of the world, and, like, it's
We're conditioned.
Yeah, people are fucking crazy. Of every walk of life, people are fucking crazy. Like I watched a video today of a guy walk up to 4 people and shoot them in the fucking head. Like, people are insane. Stop thinking that things just can't happen.
Yeah.
Like,
I think also important to go along with that when it comes to like conspiracy theories and what could or would your government or whoever do is question everything and take everything with a grain of salt.
mm-hmm.
When it comes to downloading all that information in your brain is
it's a lot. I mean, we're being exposed to information at a rate that like our parents never were exposed to. Like it's in our hands.
It's also frying our fucking brains too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The same way the sun's frying that grass out back.
Yeah, for sure.
This is awesome, guys. How can they find you?
So I'm at Ritual Glass VA on Instagram. If you're interested in some work, I'm currently building my home studio, so not taking any orders. But if you just want to look at some cool stuff and if you like it, let me know.
Didn't you say you were gonna blow me enjoy the trip glass before?
What's that?
Didn't you say you were gonna blow me a glass before? Or did I dream that?
No, I don't know. Maybe
he dreamed it.
I dreamed it.
I might have.
It might have been somebody else. It
Yeah.
might have been somebody else.
I'm
guy smokes
currently
crack.
trying
I
to.
used to. Once upon a time. All right, Mike Willis, how do they find you?
Find me on Facebook at Mike Willis, of course, and then Instagram is at Mike Willis _get'em, and then YouTube Mike Willis Man, SoundCloud is Call Me. I said SoundCloud. Good enough. Call me Mike Willis. You can find me on that shit.
And I'll put all the links in the description of the video and shit too.
Play my music, stream it.
Yep. Play it at your local church.
yeah, real shit.
And NA meeting.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.